Hey, come catch this wave with the Fixx squad. The Fixx is in. I'm Mr. Soul, I'm tuning in. What you doing?
Stand up. James left, but the king still reigns here. No tears, no love lost, no rain here. Delivers, I promise, Santa rain here. Love for the city still resides here. Fix for your ailment, faith that resides outside the lines. Detox your mind, cause it matters. Art outside the box, we paste better. The Fixx is in, and we rock a channel. We rock with them for what's deep within. Expose those who talk but don't live. Expose those who talk but don't live. Take offense. Judge by the fruit from the tree, but if the fruit
Welcome back, DJ Focus. You tune back into the Fixx, your source for faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. Stop playing. You know what time it is, man. So y'all better strap up, man. I'm be honest with y'all. I feel like I done found the little best-kept secret, man. Somebody got some crazy bars, and I wasn't aware of it. Y'all know how I stay up on my music. Y'all know I stay up on these artists. I'm always looking to break a record, and I got some new records to break from this man on the line right now. Listen. Let's be very clear, man. He's representing for giving music. Shouts out to my dude, Karen the Light and little sis, Kid Lee. Without further ado, let me welcome in, man. Listen, I'm telling you, he's a heavy rhyme spitter. Let's be very clear. Don J Live. What's going on, bro?
Man, appreciate you, my boy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. I'm excited for this one, man. I'll be honest with you. Like I say, I was not familiar with your music, so forgive me. I'm caught up now, though. Let's be very clear. I am caught up now. I was sleeping. I knew about Karen music. I knew about Kid Lee. And when Karen told me he was starting the label and he was talking about you. Let's be very clear. When we interviewed him, he was like, yeah, don't sleep on my dude Don J Live too as well. He do that work too as well. And I was like, all right, let me go check him out. And then when I checked your music out, that's when you seen the DM. Yeah, bro, we need an interview, bro. Let's get it in. Let's get it in. So listen, for first, man, tell somebody, for somebody who may not know who you are, Don J Live, like take us through just who you are as an artist. How did you even get into the game?
Yeah, man, Don J Live, man, I started out Milwaukee, Wisconsin is where I'm born and raised, actually. And I live down here in Orlando, Florida, but I started out actually doing poetry and spoken word. So, when I was in college, man, we would go to the Black Student Union joint. Everybody know about the Black Student Union joints. We would go to those. And I say we, because me and my buddy, we started this little Bible study on campus just to engage the Black folks, man. And we just started that joint on campus back in the day, 2012, 2011 or so. And I would go to them joints and do the announcements, and I'd do some spoken word for the announcements. But also, too, I'm in there rehearsing some of the truth lines from some of his joints back in the day. Like I'm just getting them excited about, coming to the Bible study joint. And then I'm like, man, hold on. What would this look like if I put this on wax? And so I actually started rapping in 2012-ish. Didn't release anything until 2014. And so it's been a minute, I ain't gonna lie, but I'm not gonna lie, like, man, y'all gotta listen to the music. I think my sound is so unique that unfortunately, man, for 10 years I've been sitting on it, like as far as like really going into it and really expressing myself fully in my sound. And I've been around the way when it comes to CHH and just knowing people and like what's going on and like being in the scene, but I've been low key for years. And it's time to change that. You mentioned Kieran the Light. That's bro. Like he a visionary. We call him a visionary. And so it's just time to change that. I appreciate him for everything he's doing. And everything he's just doing. He's just showing me so much. Him being a newer artist and me having been here for a minute. And it's just like, man, so yeah, that's a little snippet. I don't know if you want to, you know what I'm saying, some more, but that's pretty much how I got started.
No, that's good. But so I'm curious to know why sit on it. So I hear you say that you were sitting on your music. Were you like not assured yourself? Like what you mean? How you sit on heat like this?
Yeah, it's a lot, man. I think you get to overthinking stuff, man. Moses posed so many questions before he actually went, you know what I'm saying, and did. Like, God, like I got you, homie. Like, just go and walk and do this, and I'm gonna hold you down. But along the way, he like, I'm gonna send you this, I'm gonna do you this because you asking for this, you know what I'm saying, and help you out or whatever. For me, it's just like, man, I don't know. Like, I'm really going through a season right now where it's like the word is faithfulness. You know what I'm saying? Like we hear that in the spirit. It's one of the 9 joints, but it's like, what does that really look like? And for me, with music, it's like, man, God, have I been faithful to you with the music? Not with necessarily having a talent. I've been writing for, for folks. I've been doing all type of stuff, behind the scenes, but like, actually putting it out and the stuff that I have. And so, man, it was definitely probably some stuff on me just sitting back and I don't know, just being passive, man, with the music, which you can't really do. And I got so much stuff that I haven't released. And that's probably a lot of artists' story. But for me, man, I'm really just basking in that grace right now of having not been really faithful, I think, with the music. And yeah, man, just pushing forward right now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
No, that's good. Talk about a little bit about your spiritual regimen. Like, what's your daily spiritual regimen? Because I feel like you're a preacher. So,
Man,
like, was it a season where you was just like ministering? I hear you say, you set up the little Bible thing on campus
yeah.
where people could come out and hear the word. But so, were you focused on that for a little bit?
I ain't gonna lie, that's been a big thing in my life. So I mean, I got a kind of a traditional story. I was saved at a younger age, when I was 11 or so. And so I've been walking with the Lord, it's been 20 years now. And it's not like a, pat on the back. We don't, I don't boast in myself or anything like that. But like as far as I think the music, but then like trying to figure out what the calling is and like how that really works, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a family and I got other priorities and stuff like that. I think that stuff is kind of like a big thing, and that's not an excuse either, because this cats that got families out here doing it. Like shout out to Karen. Like I know Karen, you know what I'm saying? Like his whole family, you know what I'm saying? Like everything, like it's a lot that goes into that. It's a lot of sacrifice, and so it's just like, man, yeah, with that, I think that the Lord has gifted me, yes, to answer your question, I think in like teaching and some other things, prophecy and like evangelism, like some of that stuff. That's my heart heavy, 100 grand. And yeah, I think it's for me, it's just like whenever, and then also too, and then I can come back to the music and be like, all right, I got it. Like it doesn't take me as long to, come up with something or like come up with something unique or like good if I'm really focused on it. I tried to do some trendy stuff last fall and do some singles like every week. Like for example, like that was kind of like out of my lane a little bit, and I was kind of like uncomfortable with it. And but if I work on something, focus on it, it can go a different direction. But yeah, man, to your point, yeah, always been ministry minded, and but I'm learning now though that your life is not, your life is not a ministry, it's the ministry. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's not, one of the joints. It's the ministry. It's like whatever you do, just do it. And all things that we do. And so
Absolutely.
yeah, man, that's really where I've been at. But yeah.
Speak to the importance of family, because I feel like you
Yeah,
brought something up about just being the importance of family, understanding you got other things that are kind of like priority. I know you're married,
yeah,
so we saw a lot of kingdom marriages crumble during the pandemic. Speak to that dynamic of just the importance of family and also just marriage and what it represents and what it means to you.
absolutely. Well, firstly, I mean, if you look at biblically, that's the first thing Satan attacked. He ain't touched it. He ain't touched nothing. He ain't touched the animals. He ain't touched nothing. He was like, let me go for this covenant that God has created with man. Um, this beautiful covenant. And so I think it's like to know that, it's like to know a punch is coming and then you just still kind of stand there and you just look at it the whole time. If it's in slow motion, it's like, bro, like you should have saw that coming. So I think like marriages have been attacked, for years, of course, but like recently, man, yeah, to that point, a lot of, man, the guys I know, man, of course, not mentioning names, but like just homies that I dearly, have gone through the fire with the marriages, and even, at the, not even just the music scene, but just in my church. And like, man, it's a thing, man. The biggest thing for me that has helped, however, is something that we miss, I think, a lot when we look at the scriptures. Like, it's the community aspect of stuff. Like, if you're trying to do, it's just like if you're trying to be a, Christian, and really, I think my heart is being in community. I mean, it helps you. And you see, that's what Jesus did with the disciples. He brought them together in community. More so, it wasn't about necessarily, I mean, it was about, the gospel and God's story. But it was a little bit about how he put them together and then how we should model that, what I'm saying, being in community. And I think that's huge. Some of the apostles were married and, they had community, and I'm pretty sure they chopped it up about that type of stuff. But like going through that stuff, man, is huge, man. But going through it with somebody, some other people that are believers that aren't messy, because that's another thing, what I'm saying, that are truly submitted and surrendered to the Lord in that way, can be helpful. But Yeah, that's my priority though. One of my priorities, of course, the Lord being first. But my my wife, you know what I'm saying? Man, there's so much with it. I've learned a lot having my son, even. Like I've recently, I'm 31. I just went through like my wound with my father wound. Like I just went through that joint, right? I'm 31. I ain't see that joint between, when I was, born to like when I was like 29. I didn't see nothing until I had my son. And I'm like, oh, here's some of the emotive things that I was missing when I was younger, maybe. And here's some of the, you know what I'm saying? Because my father and my mother are still together to this day, glory to God, and like all those things. But I think there was a lot of, I mean, I'm a military kid too, as well. That's another caveat. So, like, both of them military, pops, law enforcement. And so it's like, there was a lot of discipline, instruction, all that stuff. And I felt there was a little bit of emotive things missing. And I have to be mindful of that going into my, marriage. We married 8 years this year. Don't quote me, 2015. Somebody do the math. Making sure I'm right on that joint. You guys got to remember the wedding date.
You good?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So 8 years in, and yeah, man, it's just a lot I'm learning, man. Prioritizing her, and then my children, and when it comes to music, you know what I'm saying. And so yeah, I remember days though. It used to be hard. It used to be a struggle and a pull between let me do some music, babe, or like you need some time. Like, all right, I got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So it's huge, but.
Yeah, you're right. You have to balance it and make sure it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month, so I got to ask you, what are some things you do to keep your mental health intact with balancing a family, working and making sure that you do the things you're trying to do with your artistry.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working out recently. I think that BJ Thompson mentioned it. He mentioned it all the time. I met bro a while ago. Um and yeah, he was just saying like we should see the balance between our spiritual health and our physical health a little bit, and it should cause us to kind of pause and put a, what I'm saying, a lens on it and not forget about it. And so for me, yeah, man, that's been one thing. I think the other thing really, man, is just being a community, man. I'm pushing that heavily, man. Just being a community, the local church, man. No matter the quirks, whatever, as long as they preaching the word of God, you know what I'm saying, and they know, a lot of extra stuff going on in the background that's distracting you from the Lord Jesus. Then we good. But like community, man, working out, and yeah, man. Oh, the social media stuff. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot on social media. I've had to limit and and pause and take a break and all that stuff. I think that stuff is healthy. I think it's mature to do as well, because it's easy to just go in emotions, and then you mess around, you falling, from grace all the time. You look up, you like, oh, like, hey, how did I get here? And then it's a, what I'm saying, a downhill thing from there. You get an up climb, I guess, from there. So yeah, appreciate you mentioning that too.
No, that's good, man. Listen, DJ Focus, you tune into the Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. We got to go to a quick break. I promise you, keep it locked. We coming right back with more from Don J Live.
Holy Culture Radio. We're not just background noise. We play the music that inspires you, because every song has a story. Christian hip-hop and R&B music and talk on Siriusxm channel 154, 24 hours a day. Holy Culture Radio is changing the game. Discussions about faith, arts, vocation, and education. We talk about the real issues that affect our communities and work together to find solutions. Join the discussion at holyculture.net and be heard.
Welcome back, DJ Focus. You tap back into the Fixx right here on Holy Culture Radio, Siriusxm channel 154. Still chopping it up, man. Got my brother Don J Live on the line right now. So let's talk about it, man. Once again, this music that I'm hearing now, these two EPs you got out. First, walk us back through the first EP. So
Yeah.
you got the new one out that just dropped, but walk us through the inspiration behind both of these two EPs that you dropped.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of them are a summation pretty much of kind of what I was trying to do in the fall of 2020. Was trying something new. Shouts out to Caleb Gordon, young boy doing his thing out here in Florida, actually. And he was doing the weekly joints. And I'm like, man, that's dope. And this is why I love, CHH and being inspired. And yeah, man, I was just like, man, let me try to do the weekly joints and see, how it works, where it goes. I think for me, it didn't end up being my style, because I've been told by people like, yo, you can probably, sell your music direct sale to people Like that's how good it is. And I was, I take that with a grain of salt, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, man, for me, the 2 EPs, the first one, definitely my favorite song off that joint is called I See. I wrote that in 9 to 5, which is on the second one actually. I wrote those two with the heart of just like kind of lament and like crying out to the Lord. And it's like it's a lot going on, like it's a lot of heavy stuff. So I opened the first one up with I See. May or may not sound like an intro, but I definitely wanted it to be that first joint that people heard. And that joint did pretty well. And then from there, I got into a few other ones. Go is one that I was kind of experimenting with a little bit with my sound, for example, on the first one. And then, yeah, man. Then so that birthed the second one, which they were actually going to be one album together. And so I just kind of split them up or whatever. And the second one, I feel like was supposed to be the stronger one. You know what I'm saying? I had a few joints on there. Mighty Man is one of my favorite joints. That's just talking about manhood and just struggling, trying to be a man and literally trying to live into it. But then there's a lot of these vices that are facing you and all that stuff. And, yeah, like really at the end, giving that to Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man. And then I got one 9 to 5 again. I mentioned I'm dropping something soon for that. So look out for that. But that was about losing my job. And so, yeah, just wanted to put something together. I hadn't done an EP in 3 years. So that was huge. And got more coming, definitely.
Talk about the track "Save Me." That's actually one of my favorites on the on part 2, and it caught me off guard because I love the way you set the song up. So just talk about that right there.
Save Me was actually, that was like my single from all of the ones I did. That was the one I was like, okay, this radio, this is like everything. It's ready to go. My tone, some of the punchlines like I was trying to use in that joint, like it all made sense. It's weird though, that was birthed out of experiment. And that wasn't like, again, I was just trying different sounds and things. And for me, I'm usually a conscious type dude. So I used to rap really at one level. If you hear my old stuff, shout out to Elevate Direction. That's my old name. Nobody knows except for the people that know. But like back in the day, Elevate Direction, I rap really at one tone, and it was just like getting it high level, you know what I'm saying? Like DMX, just staying there, like I'm heavy, you know what I'm saying, in your face with it. And Save Me, yeah, I came down a little bit and I was like, let me play with the vocal tones and go up and down a little bit, like be mellow and stuff like that. And it worked really well. And one thing, I've always been really focused on hooks and choruses. That's my like bread and butter. And I haven't even gotten into my bag, I don't think, with that yet. But that's my thing. And I'm excited about that. So
How important is collaboration? Because you just kind of talked about your creative process. Like, so when you do collabs, how important is it to kind of like know what direction you're going in? Are you one that needs to have the hook already written down? Or are you thinking and writing something down, thinking like, all right, who can I get to bring this to life outside of myself? Or are you just always game plan? No, it's just me.
yeah, no, I will, nowadays I'm writing with an artist in mind. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna send this to so and so, or I'm gonna send this to so and so. For example, with the joint with Kid Lee, like that's a funny story. That was actually my single that I was going to release for me, and then she heard it and she was like, "What you doing with this joint?" I was like, "Oh, I was like, what's good, son? Like you can have that. Like what we doing?" So like man, literally, I wrote that envisioning her getting on that joint, and she slid on that joint, of course. But then like yeah, same thing, like I will write specific to an artist, but I feel like I'm versatile enough to have a sound that I have and see if anybody meshes with it. And I think that's been a thing that I kind of struggled with a little bit, like staying and sticking to my sound and my style. Because when you hear my album coming out a little bit later in the year, like you'll be like, okay, this is his sound. Like that's the sound, right? But in CHH, it's like not too many like dive into that sound at all, and that's okay with me. Like I'm fine with it. And it's just like sometimes I gotta write in my my little corner and just pray like, Lord, what's good with this? My heart, my passion to melodies and to all that stuff, and how to see a song flow together. I write all my hooks first, all hooks and choruses. That's my number one, and that's my number one thing to do. And so I start there. Hooks, choruses. I don't even worry about the verses. Verses gonna come if you got a dope hook or chorus. Like it's gonna be straight. versus.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Listen, Don J, he has 2 EPs out sometime on Tuesday, part 1 and part 2. You need to cop both of them. Download them things right now. Get them things in your spirit because they crazy ridiculous.
Yeah.
Listen, I can have this conversation with you because I know hip hop. Hip hop turned 50 years this year. This is the 50 years that we're acknowledging hip hop for what it is altogether. What's your take on the state of hip hop altogether? I think Christian hip hop has had a staple on it. I would argue for at least the last 10 years, where even the mainstream artists even recognize us over here on this side. But just in general, being a person that grew up in hip hop, loving hip hop, where do you think we are, the culture and the state of hip hop altogether?
Huge question, man. I grew up on Talib Kweli, Common Sense. So, you know what I'm saying? I can quote like Water for Chocolate straight through. Like, I grew up like that. And so I've seen definitely, I was just telling my boy this, I've seen definitely the progression of it, the different turns that we've taken, the way in which, even Avil Heist, for example, I love dropping names because these is, brothers and sisters in Christ. Avil Heist is taking that route where it's like he's still, you know what I'm saying, live show, Sway in the Morning, freestyling, and he's doing it at a crazy level. And then, we got other cats, man, coming in doing stuff. So, the state of it overall, man, I think that, man, it's a lot. There's a lot of influence. It used to be really, you mentioned the 10 years. I think the 10 years before that, it was a lot of we being influenced by that sound, or maybe, I'm sorry, backwards. The sound being influenced by us. Now it's a lot of us. We're grabbing some of those sounds, those mainstream sounds. We're pulling those in, but using them in a way where it's like, oh no, this is fresh though. This is different. This is new. This is something shiny. Like, let me go, you know what I'm saying, and check this out. Because you do have artists that are like getting attention from, mainstream artists that are, Christians. And it's just like they like, man, how do we get this to, continue? Like, what do we, do? And they may not even have the same faith, belief, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's a beautiful thing to see. I think that's the gospel. It ain't got to be always, you know what I'm saying, 5, 6, 7 central points of Jesus every time. And so I think, we can walk in step with the Holy Spirit and be very effective. And so, yeah, with that, man, it's like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot of influence on our end, but then also too, mainstream, I think, is seeing and respecting. And there's a lane, I think, opening up. They're gonna have to do something with us, honestly. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of creativity, and there's not too many in that lane, but it's like opening up, man. Like, it's a lot of creativity, man. These sounds are really sounding really, really good. And so I'm excited. I'm excited, and yeah, I look forward to what's next, man.
Yeah, they definitely have been noticing us. Let's be very clear. The sync placements for different artists have been going crazy.
That's literally what I brought on my boy,
Yeah.
man. Derod, he out here in Orlando as well. Like, man, he been putting people on with the sync stuff. That's what I'm trying to get into next as well. Sync is it's literally an indicator of where everything is, because they don't even need, like, it's just like, let's hit up them. like
Clearly.
they got, so yeah.
Yeah, continue to make the dope music. They gonna know it. Listen, do you think I know, you pretty much solid. You got a good team. Shouts out, like I say, to Karen and Kid Lee. You being on, Forgiving Music. But do you think there's a lack of unity in CHH? Do you feel like a lack of unity and it's kind of cliquey at times?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be tempting to do that, definitely. And I think that, honestly, it's just kind of boiled out of pride. And here's the thing, though, with hip hop. Hip hop started, like that. You know what I'm saying? It was yay versus yay. Like, it was like he versus he. Like, it was a thing. It was like, we not doing it to hate each other. We doing it to, no, I'm nicer with the pen than you, right? And so let's battle rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's go back and forth. Let's dance and see who got the best moves. Like, that's the foundation of it. And I was telling somebody recently who, I figured, I was like, okay, probably a little younger in the CHH scene, not even necessarily in the faith, but just like the scene or whatnot. I think if we gonna put the hip hop on there, we gotta look at, where hip hop started out, and we probably have some foundations in beginning hip hop a little. Like, I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know, like, going back to the 70s. Like, I really don't know the origins. I know the origins of hip hop, but like Christian hip hop and like where that started at, because I feel like they were rapping about faith and like consciousness stuff back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And so if that's the case, we got to know that the full definition of that hip hop, it was started as MC versus MC type stuff, and that can cause clicky stuff. And then you think about what Christians do in our walk, like we try not to be, you know what I'm saying? We try to be as together as possible in one body, united. And it's like, man, it's almost like we setting ourselves up, because it's like, man, like you got that component of hip hop, but then you got the Christian idea of like, you know, unity. It's become definitely clicky. It's been clicky. I don't even think it was necessarily clicky. I think there was somebody up here, right? You probably all know the name and stuff like that. And then there's people down here, everybody trying to get up there, right? And then it's like, bro, why you not, you know, looking down and pulling us up? And it's just like, well, we just taking whatever opportunities God gives us. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily a us versus y'all thing or anything like that. It's just like whatever opportunity there is, we're gonna take it. And so that's why I love what like No Big Deal in them is doing, what they joint, you know what I'm saying, what Karen's doing. What, like people just have their own little things, and it's just like it can be used for really, really good. It can be, you know. I think, you know, we may lose sight of the focus when we start to make it clicky and stuff like that. But that's another thing too, man. That's a whole different conversation. Should we charge for features or not? My heart is like, look, man, if you're trying to collab, we can collab. Like, you know, I used to be at a mindset of, I actually collaborated probably with more artists and producers that aren't Christian than I have. Because I used to work out of Chicago, and cats, you know, Kanye Camp used to come through, Chance, Mick Jenkins, like all of them guys, we recorded with the same engineers. And so that's where I'm like my mindset. And so when I come to see it change, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Like I'm heavy in this, but it's like I get it though. Like I get, you know, XYZ don't want to mess with XYZ. Not saying that it's good, but it's like, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
Listen, we appreciate you, Don, man, kicking it with us this morning, man. Tell the people how they connect with you, follow you on all your social media platforms, as well as, listen, introduce your new banger.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, man, Don J Live, DonJayliv, everywhere you can Google that joint. Don J Live on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. All the socials, Don J Live. And yeah, man, my new joint, which actually really ain't new, but it's kind of new for y'all that's hearing it. 9 to 5. I'm dropping a video very, very soon. Look out for that video, 9 to 5 by Don J Live, and yeah, it's got some different angles in it, so check it out.
Keep it locked. You tune into The Fixx. You know The Fixx is in.